And we're back for another episode. In this episode, we're going to be continuing the patch 2.5 story mode after having just completed Keeper of the Lake. So, as always, hello from Mithrie. So, we're just outside the entrance to Keeper of the Lake, and we need to carry on the quest by talking to the Doman refugee. So, let's see what he has to say. So, I was beginning to fear the worst. Were those explosions I saw? Ah, but you shouldn't waste time talking with me. Alphanode left a message stating that you were to return to the Rising Stones at once. Okay, so let's return now to the Rising Stones in Revenant Toll. So let's go. Save ourselves a few seconds of running by teleporting. And my Midgard Soma companion minion is going to be following me around, at least for now. Maybe it'll be protecting me. There's Lucia. Okay, so here's Alphanode. So, praise the 12 that you are hale and whole. I came as soon as Mithrie informed me of Sir Aemeric's request. You have completed your investigation of the Keeper of the Lake, I take it. Then I would hear your report. You converse with Midgard Soma? I swear, were anyone else to make such a claim, I would regard it with considerable skepticism. Are we to understand that the Lawn did not perish and has in sooth lain dormant these past 15 years? Less say resurrection and more rejuvenation, for he who dwelleth in eternity, years passing as moments. Though his words were ambiguous at times, one statement left little room for interpretation. My people have heard the song, Isgard shall burn. Clearly an attack is imminent. We must share this information with Sir Aemeric immediately. However, we dare not divulge your conversation with Midgard Soma in its entirety. To even acknowledge that you heard the voice of a Dravanian is a grave but necessary risk. Lest we forget, men have been executed as heretics for declaring as much. For your own protection and for the sake of our tenuous relations with Ishgard, the truth cannot leave this room. As for how we shall present our revelation to Sir Aemeric's emissary, you may leave that to me. Pray remain here for now. Is there something you are not telling us, Mithrie? You seem different somehow. 'Tis almost as if you are missing something important. Troll for Fend. Midgard Soma stripped you of the blessing of light? Are you alright? How do you feel? I see. It is a relief to hear that you are otherwise unharmed. It beggars belief that any being could possess the power to deprive you of her blessing. Midgard Soma made mention of a covenant, did he not? One of the ancient myths regarding Silvertear Falls state that when the waters came into existence, so did the Great Worm. Afelk and Nimia, brother Time and sister Fate, decreed that Midgard Soma ever watch over the source, from which all water and magic was said to flow. I wonder what if this was the covenant of which he spoke, and 'twas not the gods with whom he treated, but Hydaelyn herself. Well, if he is watching over you as he claimed, mayhap you will have an opportunity to ask. Let us keep the matter to ourselves. I do not wish to burden our friends needlessly. Hello. Art thou a pawn, or master of thy fate? Wast hath thou wroth by thine own hands, mortal? That was my attempt at the Migosama voice. I don't know if it went well. Though to be honest, given that he's the minion version, his voice should probably be like...
My friend, I can scarce believe it. You confronted the Wormlord and lived to tell the tale. I give thanks to Helone for your preservation. It is our sole cause for gladness. Your encounter with the Keeper of the Lake served to confirm our fears. A great worm has roared, and it makes little difference if it was one of the two in Eorzea or any other. The Dravanians are coming.
I am told that Ishgard has magical defenses against Dravanian attack, though I am not privy to their exact nature. Will they be enough to repel a massive force?
Ishgard has weathered countless assaults over centuries. This will be no different. And now that you have confirmed the threat, none can ignore the Lord Commander's calls for the wards to be strengthened. I dare not presume to speak for him, but I expect the Lord Commander would sing your praises. I must away, but we shall meet again soon.
Countless assaults weathered, and this will be no different? Why am I not convinced?
Always loved that. It's like, you've made progress. Ding! The Guardians have warred with the Dravanias for centuries, nay, nearly 1,000 years. In all that time, not once have their enemies breached their defences and entered the city proper. Yet, regardless of how strong these magical walls may be, I nevertheless fear that the Ishgardians are underestimating the gravity of the situation. Though it was not Migosoma who roared, a call to arms may be one of the first brood cannot be ignored. Until such time as they choose to request our aid, however, we can do naught but observe the situations at a distance and pray that our fears are unfounded. Okay, so that's the Rising Chorus complete. So now the next quest is called Aether on Demand. So Alpha Node had a message from Mon Breeder for the Scions. Ere I forget, I believe Mon Breeder has requested a gathering of the Scions. I assume there has been some progress concerning our efforts to combat the Scions. Pray inform her that our business with the Ishgardians is concluded for the moment. I shall be along once I've completed my communications with the Crystal Braves. Cool. So let's now do that. So all done with your talk of dragons. Wonderful, because the Scions are next on the menu. Let's head into the Solar, shall we? Okay, so into the Solar we go. Cutscene.
Now that everything's calmed down a bit, relatively speaking I mean, I thought it might be a good time to share our progress on the weapon. I believe we're on the verge of a breakthrough.
Well, Don't keep us all in suspense.
Just in case anyone's forgotten, let's start by reviewing what we already know. So, an Ascian is an immortal because its soul doesn't return to the ethereal realm when its host is defeated. Instead, it flees to the place that lies between our world and the void. Therefore, the first step to permanently defeating an Ascian is preventing its soul from making this journey. And if you recall, when we last gathered here, I had verified that white auracite has adequate capacity to entrap the beams, albeit only briefly.
Which left the small matter of their extermination.
Aye. To unmake an Ascian soul, one must needs smite it with a concentrated burst, or blade, of purest ether. However, we wanted for both the data and the means to forge such a weapon.
Short of experimenting on an actual Ascian, you see, there's no way to gauge how much ether its soul is made of. As such, we don't know what etheric density our blade needs to have in order for it to work.
So we'll just have to make the densest blade we can and hope for the best. Though that would require a lot of ether. Hang on a minute! Why didn't we think of this before? White auracite can hold an absolute heap of ether, can't it?
Please tell me you're joking. God's sakes, Ida. I feel as though I'm reliving the same scene over and over with you. How many times do you need to be told that white auracite cannot store ether for long periods? Being intangible matter, ether is given to dispersion. Only in its crystallized form is it a stable source of energy. I will test you later on this, so see to it you do not forget.
Right, yes. It's all coming back to me.
So our hopes rest on good old crystals again, do they? While they are certainly reliable, they leave something to be desired in the area of portability.
Indeed. I am reminded of the quantity of corrupted crystals required to thwart Leviathan, and the extraordinary lengths to which the Lamentsons went to transport them. What if it should prove that a similar quantity was needed to destroy an Ascian soul? Or still more?
I do not envy the poor sod who has to lug all of that around, on the off chance that an Ascian appears.
That's the very problem we set out to solve, and I reckon we've found the answer. If it isn't practical to lug around the ether we need, we'll just have to draw upon another source. And the only viable source is the land.
If you mean to tap the Great River of Aether, know that it will entail considerable risk. Meddling with the currents may well induce a surge like to the one which despoiled Mordona.
Give me a bit more credit, will you? Why would we need to tap the river when there are veritable reservoirs jutting out all over the land? Aye, I speak of corrupted crystals. It might be that their aspect is out of balance, but a crystal's a crystal. It contains ether, and we can help ourselves to it.
While corrupted crystals are indeed abundant, there is no guarantee that they will be in close proximity at a crucial moment.
But what if we don't need them to be? What if we could tap their power from afar? A malm away, say? If we could do that, we'd have ready access to ether aplenty in almost every corner of Eorzea. I've yet to put my theories to the proof, but I've got a good feeling about this. If no one has any objections, I'd like to see where this avenue leads.
If you think it's worth your while, you have my blessing. But tell us, what are your theories? I, for one, am most eager to understand the process, however vaguely.
I thought you might say that, but no one wants to listen to boring old theories all day, do they? I know I don't. So with your permission, I'd like to try something a bit more hands-on. I've already built an etheric siphon especially for this purpose, and I've been meaning to try it out. Thing is, the profusion of corrupted crystals in Mordona makes it something of a high-risk testing ground. If anything goes awry with the siphon, it would be better if it didn't happen within spitting distance of quite so much ether. Ideally, I need an isolated specimen. Does anyone know where I can find one?
May I suggest northern Thanalan? There you will find corrupted crystals of middling size, standing a reasonable distance apart. Ideal for your needs, I should have thought. Oh, and if you do elect to visit the place, I should be much obliged if you would assist me in another matter while you are in the area.
Has something happened?
Movement has been observed at Castrum Meridianum. During Operation Archon, the Alliance dealt the stronghold a heavy blow. Its facilities were extensively damaged, and its garrison reduced to a fraction of its former strength. Not long after our forces withdrew, however, their ranks were replenished by reinforcements from Castrum's sentry. They now seek to rebuild, and to this end they have their sights set upon the ceruleum processing plant. Having lost the Empire's support, the 14th Legion lacks the resources to sustain itself. To them, this is a bid for survival, and they will doubtless fight like desperate men. Though I have dispatched the Crystal Braves, I fear their strength alone may not suffice to stay the Imperial assault. I would request the Scion's aid in the defensive effort.
If I didn't know better, I'd say you were trying to inveigle us into fighting your battle with the promise of shiny crystals. Well then, consider me inveigled. I won't lie, the crystals you speak of sound perfect, so the Garleans have to go. Besides, we can't afford to beat about the bush. There's no telling when the Arceans will next appear.
Thine eagerness to hurl thyself into the jaws of danger cometh as little surprise. Exercise due caution, I prithee.
Though you have become a Crystal Brave, you are yet a Scion, Alphino. We could hardly refuse you. Pray, join the Crystal Braves and lend them your support. Thancred and Papalymo shall accompany you. Ida and Yashtola, in the meantime I would have you assist Moonbreeder. Scout out the crystal clusters, that the testing may commence as soon as the Garlean threat has been eliminated.
If it please you, I shall continue mine own experiments on white aurosite.
Thank you, Urianger. Everyone, pray see to your preparations and depart as soon as you are able. Go well, and be safe.
Okay, so now let's go speak with Alpha Node, who's just outside the solar. So it would seem that events have once more conspired to rob us of rest and recuperation. Though I would wish it otherwise, I must ask that you head straight away to the processing plant. The 4th have already deployed to the area and await the arrival of the Scions. Wilred will brief you on the developing situation. Meanwhile, I must rendezvous with Captain Ilberd at our headquarters in Uldar. I shall take command of our forces there with a lighter heart, knowing that you go support the front lines. So your duties take you to Northern Fanaland, do they not? We too must say our farewells to the Rising Stones for a time. Phil Hamin travels to Uldar, and we shall serve as her escort. At my daughter's behest, I go to contact certain old acquaintances in the Gilded City. We are bested on all sides by civil unrest and imperial machinations, threatened by primal and troubled dragons. We need all the allies we can muster. Many of our friends hold positions of power, you see, and it is my hope that they can be convinced to aid the Scion's cause. If past events have taught us anything, then we know that Eorzea must present a united front, or we shall fall. Ah, how extraordinary that my little Asilia is involved in such far-reaching affairs. I am proud that I might now stand at her side, not only as a mother, but also as a colleague. A colleague with influential connections, but I fear that Uldar has become a place of danger even for one so familiar with her streets. Bah, woe betide the blackguard that so much as glares in your direction, milady. Aha, I shall be well protected, it seems. Shall we be on our way then? Okay, so let's now go to the Cerulean plant in Northern Fanaland. Let's go. Thankfully it's got its own Aetherite right there. Okay, so Hills Will Red. So, Commander Levileur sent word that you'd be coming. A veteran of your talents is most welcome. Not that I don't think we can handle the situation, mind you. I've learned a trick or two since the disaster with the Amoljar. But returning to the task at hand. The Flames reconnaissance scouts have reported Imperial soldiers assembling at Roban's Push. Such a force is likely interested in only one thing, getting their hands on the resources found here at the processing plant. The Garleans could begin marching on us at any time, and I think it's time we speak with Lieutenant Edelstein to finalize our counter strategy. Interesting they're walking so slowly. So, Lieutenant Menethil, my soldiers yet tell tales of your deeds during Operation Archon. What that we could sit a while and reminisce about old times. Are the Garleans on the move, then? Not as such. The civilian draftsmen have, however, come across several highly suspicious crates within the boundaries of the processing plant. I had my sappers take a closer look, and our worst fears were confirmed. These boxes contain powerful explosive devices of Imperial design no less. Found inside the plant, you say? But how? We've had guards stationed around the perimeter day and night. It is likely the plant was infiltrated long before the Braves arrived. Master Thancred, have the Scions come in force then? All who could be spared, yes. Now there are likely more of these Imperial explosives about the place, so I suggest we spread out and conduct a thorough sweep of the compound. Considering the volatile nature of Ceruleum, allowing even one such device to escape our search may lead to us enjoying an uncomfortably close view of a rather spectacular explosion. Right then, I'll pass the word on to the fourth. What exactly should we do with these crates should we find them? Bring them here to me, carefully mind you. My zappers will render the devices harmless, as they did with the first batch we found. Very well, let's get started, shall we? Cool, so let's now look for these explosives which are scattered about. So they're just giving us a big circle for us to check. Okay, nothing in there. Interesting when breeder's there. Okay, so here is the inconspicuously suspicious item. Okay, that's one, so free to go. Okay, here's another one. We have two more. Okay, so Papalimo's dealing with one. Your Stolas around here. So two more. Where are they? Aha, there's one. Okay, so one more left to find. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, I gotta love these whole hide and seek games. So, literally looking everywhere for it. So where is number 4? That's interesting. We'll find it eventually. I didn't know you could climb up here. Ah, there it is. That's interesting. That's I don't know if they've added this in just for this patch, but I never knew you could actually get up here. So let's get item number 4. Cool. So that's all 4 of them. We need to go this way. And when you're not in combat, you will never die from fall damage. You'll always survive with 1 HP, even if you fall from an infinite height. But if you're in combat, then yeah, you'll die. Here is Edelstein. Let's hand him over. Says inconspicuously suspicious item. Suspected to supposedly contain something like explosives. There were 4 more of those blasted things. I'll have our engineers disassemble them at once. Fine work as always, Lieutenant Menifil. The entire compound has now been scoured from top to bottom, so I should hope that the last we've seen of these explosives. Our troubles with Castrum Meridium, however, are far from over. Scouts have returned with news of movement on the front. Okay, let's complete that quest. Next quest is called On the Counteroffensive. So Lieutenant Edelstein wishes to share a report with you concerning the Garlean movements. We've been keeping a close eye on the Garlean garrison, and 'twould seem the Imperials have finally begun to mobilize. According to the reconnaissance report that just came in, the squads seen leaving the Castrum are too few in number to effectively take and hold our position. They will likely mount a swift assault and focus on the acquisition of resources. I have, of course, also shared this report with the Crystal Braves. They've decided to take to the field to meet this assault head-on. Pray report to Lieutenant Alian, let's say that's right, Alien, and lend your much welcome strength to the counteroffensive. So for now, Migosoma's either watching over me or just watching me. It's up to you really, which one you want to think it is. The Alien. Or Alian. So glad to have you with us, Mithrie. I'm sure Lieutenant Edelstein has explained, the Garleans have deployed a small force from Castrum Meridium. Their main column assembles to the north near Dalamud's Talons, and we've also spied several squads attempting to conceal themselves on the approach to the west. They wish you to rush forth and commit to battle with the main column, leaving the detached force free to raid the plant and pillage supplies. Not much of a strategy, but these are desperate men. Captain Ilbert. Greetings, Scion. I understand the commander bid you and your fellows come lend a hand to the Braves. With such mighty heroes at its disposal, the force should be little trouble contending with aught the Garleans might throw at them. But even you cannot be everywhere at once. The Third was getting restless, holed up in Uldar, so I marched them out here to fill any holes in the plant's defences and add their numbers to your counterattack. The reinforcements are welcome. We've enough soldiers now to divide our own forces and safely engage the enemy far beyond the walls. 'Twould be best to avoid staging a battle anywhere near this much ceruleum. Let's take this fight to the Garleans. A wise course indeed. I shudder to think the consequences should any of these storage tanks be exposed to fire. If there are no objections, the Scions shall join the 4th and give battle to this main column. You're with the 3rd then, Warrior of Light. Your job will be to intercept these squads hiding out in the west and prevent them from reaching the processing plant. When you're ready to proceed, report to Lieutenant Yu Hasi. His scouts should have a rough idea of where the Imperials have concealed themselves by now. Cool. So let's go speak with Yu Hasi. So this is obviously slowly escalating until full-on battle. There we go. So, a pleasure to be fighting by your side once more, Scion. Our operations invariably succeed when you're around, and victories are wont to pave the road to greater coin. Now, this detached force we've been sent to eliminate has split into smaller squads. The better to conceal themselves within the terrain hereabouts, I imagine. We'll need to split ourselves up as well as to cover more ground and make sure we root out all these would-be raiders. And seeing as you're an army unto yourself, I've assigned you your own areas to scour clean of enemy soldiers. Aye, this will be a simple search and destroy. We'll rendezvous back here when the task is done. Happy hunting, Scion. Okay, so we're gonna go defeat the Imperial squad. Reminds me I need to do the delivery Moogle quest. Anyway. Always do the casters first, it's just my preference. Okay, so now we have to go defeat the next squad. Let's just get him done so he doesn't have to have trouble later. Because these can actually stun you as well. Okay, let's report back. So, almost there. So Yu Hasi says, "You seem grim, Scion. I'll take that to mean between us more than a few Guardians won't be making it back to the castrum. These Imperials, though, they certainly made us earn our pay. I would be a happy man if I never had to tussle with another of those Magitech horrors. It is time we bid the war-torn land farewell. I will contact the 4th and let Lieutenant Alian know the West is now clear. I would appreciate it if you would do the same when you report to Lieutenant Edelstein." Edelstein, here we go. So, Lieutenant Menefil, what news of the Guardians? Their raiding parties are no more then? Excellent. The Amagina engineers will be most relieved to hear that the plant is no longer in any immediate danger. Thank you again for your assistance. Okay, so let's complete that quest. And moving on. So the next quest is called An Uninvited Scion. Ooh, and we get to choose a savage materia. So I'll check which one is worth more. It's probably going to be the might as usual. So Lieutenant Edelstein appears concerned for Moonbreeder's well-being. You must be anxious for word of your fellows. Lieutenant Alian has reported a sound victory over the main column, and informs me that the Scions have already turned their attention to their duties. All but one, that is. The Rogadin lady with the large axe. It would appear she has chosen to remain at the site of the battle. I know not what task keep her from returning to civilization, but northern Fanaland is no place to wander alone, even for a capable sort such as her. I would certainly feel better about things if you could check in on her before you continue on your way. Okay, so let's go talk to Moonbreeder. Just outside the cerulean plant. Try not to get this guy's attention if possible. Cool, cutscene.
Hold on, I won't be a second. The beast seemed peckish, so I gave it a taste of my axe. I know, as Urianger never tires of reminding me. An axe ill becometh the hand of a scholar. What can I say? I like axes. To hear my mother tell it, I came into this world holding one. And it's not as if it stopped me picking up a quill, is it? I often think of the man who introduced me to the joys of learning. He's one of the reasons I decided to come to Eorzea. Him and my excruciatingly stiff childhood friend. Considering how unalike we are, it's a wonder we ever got on. The world's a strange old place, isn't it? Aye, that ought to do it. So far, so good. At these concentrations, it shouldn't matter too much if something goes awry. Just enough ether to make it interesting. Did you see that? The way the crystal glowed? The siphon works, I'm happy to say. With a few refinements, it should satisfy our appetite for ether, which just leaves the small matter of forging our blade. I'm not sure how to go about it just yet, but I swear to find a way. I'll put a blade in your hands if it's the last thing I do.
She senses me. A useful talent.
An Ascian. Are they onto us?
By your brand, I see you are an Archon of Sharlayan, keeper of knowledge, seeker of truth, meddler.
I don't know what the hell's you're saying, but I don't much like your tone.
Your instincts serve you well. But come, be not unsettled on my account. That lovely brow was not made for frowns. But I waste my breath. Let me direct my words to one who understands them. We meet at last, warrior of light. I am Nabriales. And you have long been a thorn in my side. I suffered the overweening presence of La Habrea that men might host the power of gods, only for you to undo my hard work.
Oh, bugger.
Do settle down. You must concede that I acted in self-defense. But what's this? I do not sense the blessing of light. Oh dear. Could it be that frail Hydaelyn has forgotten her champion? This I did not foresee. Shorn of light as you are no longer a threat. And better yet, the seal is broken. Now is the time to claim the staff. With it in my grasp, I shall rise above them all and take my place at Lord Zodiac's right hand.
What did that bastard want with us? Nobrialis, he calls himself. With charm like that, I'll bet he has maidens falling at his feet, unconscious. But this staff, you say just talking about it had the bastard grinning like a brat on his name day. Must be quite a staff. Oh, gods. He means Tupsimati, Master Louis Soir's staff. Minfilia's in danger. We have to get back to the Rising Stones.
It's funny, the way the guy spoke, he reminded me of the guy with the briefcase in the Half-Life games, the one that talks to Morgan Freeman. He's like, I don't have time, Mr. Freeman. Half-Life. That's long in my past, but still great series of games if you haven't ever played them. If you like shooting aliens, then play Half-Life. You're here. Master Louis Soir's staff is kept in the solar, isn't it? Quickly now.
You too.
So, you were able to divine my intent. What now, warrior of light? Ah, but that name is no longer fitting. You have become decidedly dull, and quite incapable of barring my entry.
That's true. She's not really a warrior of light anymore.
What do you mean?
You truly do not know? Then I suppose it is only right that I enlighten you. The blessing of light kept you and your fellow meddlers safe. It was that which prevented my kind from entering your domain. My kind, I say, though it had no power over the likes of Elidibus and La Habrea. Being of this world, they could come and go as they please, while I could only look on. But I need look no longer. Now that the seal is gone, I mean to act. Unlike the others, I am not given to waiting. I shall take that staff and bring about the next rejoining.
Rejoining? Then it was your doing. The Isle of Val, the scholars, all of it.
will not harm her!
Eek.
Moonbreeder!
Why must you insist on forcing my hand? Did you learn nothing from our last meeting? Ah, but I forget. My words fall upon deaf ears.
The staff is but a broken relic, a memorial to the departed. What possible use could you have for it?
What use? You mean to say that all this time you kept the key, never knowing what it was you possessed? The staff Tupsimati, or rather the stone tablet it bears, is host to a great power. Together with the horn, it can be used to draw vast quantities of ether from its bearer's surroundings.
It's like, yeah, Medphilia, haven't you seen the opening trailer?
How else do you think Louis Soir was able to invoke the power of the 12 without making them an offering of crystals? Summoning requires not only prayer, but a profusion of ether. Even a child knows that.
If I did not know before, you may be certain I do now. But above all, I know that we cannot allow the staff to fall into your hands. I will die before I let you take it.
Insufferable woman. I would happily end your miserable life here and now. Alas, Elidibus would never let me hear the end of it. Very well. If you will not part with the staff, I will take you too.
After them! Quickly! Before the rift closes!
Awesome. Okay, so the Crystallis is actually a trial that needs to be done, and it's also going to be on the Duty Roulette trials as well. So I need to complete it to unlock the Duty Roulette trials and also continue the main story. But anyway, because I'm getting close to the hour, I'm going to end the episode there. Thank you for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. So as always, goodbye from me, and goodbye from Mithrie.